welcome to another edition of Fundy Motorsports Magazine. Tonight we're going to be in the studio talking with some go-karters later on, but first up from the New Brunswick Sporting Car Club we've got Stacy Chapman. Welcome to the studio, Stacy.
Thank you, Don.
The reason I brought you in, we attended the Grand Prix down in Halifax, and I wanted to be able to explain a little bit more about it to people, and I did some home movies down there that we're going to show here in a few minutes. But first, I'd like to explain about what the New Brunswick Sporting Car Club is and your involvement in the club, both as a member and as a driver in the club.
Yeah, well, I'm the New Brunswick Sporting Car Club race director, as you know. We are involved in, of course, racing at Atlantic Motorsport Park, which some people may be more familiar with the bike racing going on down there.
Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia.
Yep, Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. That actually belongs to the sedan racers and formula racers of the Atlantic provinces. From there goes Moosehead Grand Prix, which has brought all sorts of exposure to motorsports in the last few years. Even so much that we now have a race down in Penfield. We've brought back the old Moosehead 400 race.
Oh, it's good to see things going well down there. Now, you're dressed in driving apparel. Can you explain to us what these components are for drivers serious about getting into racing?
Well, this is Nomex. It's made so that you have a few extra seconds to get out of the car in case it's on fire. Actually, we had a regional slalom this weekend. The car did catch on fire, and a bunch of people weren't running with fire extinguishers, but the gas tank was going to catch on fire, and nobody was sure if they wanted to go near it or not. So, you know, it's kind of important to have this. You're pretty well covered. You have a balaclava that goes over your head. You've got the gloves, the helmet. It gives you approximately 15 seconds, which may not sound like much, but we have marshals positioned all around the track. This is road racing we're doing. It's fairly open. You're usually talking a 2-3 kilometer hour or 3 kilometer stretch. And at each corner there's a marshal station, so a marshal can be out to your car within seconds to haul you out or put an extinguisher on it. So 15 seconds is quite a bit.
It gives you that little bit of time, because if you're not protected at all, you're on fire instantly, basically, if gasoline, say, gets splashed on you.
If something happened. Now, mind you, in the last 20 years of racing in Atlantic provinces, I don't know of any driver that ever got burned. Yes, cars do catch on fire, but when you see fire in the car, you're out of there pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, I know myself that in order to do this type of racing, a lot of time and attention has to be spent with safety factors.
Yes, yeah.
And it's just one of the things that, in fact, we're going to show some clips now, if we can roll the clips from Halifax there, and we can explain some of what goes on during a road race. Okay, here, this is the first day down there. We went down on Thursday.
Yeah, we went down to steward the event. A few of our members and yourself was invited guests down to watch the Grand Prix. This is the improved touring paddock area, the Dairy Queen Track Tour. This is what I race in myself. May have seen my car running around, big number 8 on the side. Just to look down through all the many tents and stuff that are shown at the event.
Now, in fact, here, these are cars that are participants in the track tour.
Yep, these are the cars that will be at Penfield, the cars you see in here. Just one of the many races we're going to be having down there. We're going to be having formula cars too. Basically, cars you're going to see on the street. There's Gary Marks. He was the pit marshal. He told the cars when they could and couldn't go off on the track. One of the cars down from Toronto, taking a side street there. It wasn't quite a shortcut, he found out.
Well, those upper Canadians can't drive any better than we can down here, I guess.
Yeah. That's a TR7 with an 8-cylinder, so he calls it TR8. Paul Hilsey with the Mustang GT. That would be Dave somebody, I can't remember his name, with the Corvette.
Yeah, the Corvette was an interesting car because it has a set of hand controls in it.
Yes, the gentleman drives that's a paraplegic, and he's always up in the front of the race. If he's not winning, he's very close to being there.
He was certainly exciting to watch.
Sobeys cars there that you saw, the green and white one of those drivers was Peter Cetera, the popular rock star. Have a TVR. You don't see too many of those around.
Nope.
Quite an exotic car. Those TRXs like mine, kind of jockeying for position.
Yeah. One thing I like to mention about this type of racing now, we have multiple classes here, but they're on the track at the same time.
Yeah, you get the speed differential. Like my little Honda is not going to keep up with the Corvette in the straights. In the corners, I can hold my well pretty good. We're not physics with all that weight of trying to get a big Corvette around the corner doesn't work that much. But there's one of the new Chevy Z28s being one of the pace cars. Of course, you see the marshals and the firemen. They're, like I said, they're there within seconds to pull you out if there's a problem.
Now here, on this day, this was all, they were doing their time trials and the qualifying times. These are player Atlantic cars here. That's Claude Bourbonnais.
Very exciting racing that was.
And Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques Villeneuve, yeah.
For those of you that watch TSN, watch racing there, they'll see them.
Yes, yeah. We were able to get right up next to them and talk to them and chat with them. Very, very interesting people.
And one thing about, now this particular race on Sunday was covered live by TSN.
Yes, it was.
I happened to see myself in it, and I had the camera in my hand, and I was pointed the wrong way. it was just kind of a giggle to see myself there.
Well, these are very exciting cars. They really held their own out in the track, placing some really fast laps. Of course, you see somebody blowing up an engine there and probably spilling a little bit of oil all over the track.
Now this here, we just happened to be here at the end of pit lane. It was turn 4, it's called.
Yep.
And I just wanted, maybe if we could explain a bit about all these people that we see in here. Basically, what are they doing?
Okay. You usually have at least 4 people at a marshal station. You see, of course, people waving the yellow flag. You have a person on communications in the red there. You have people to go out and help the drivers on the track, and observers. I think I just saw myself leaning up against the post there somewhere. Safety is always an utmost concern, and of course, you know, getting the car out of the way. They've pulled it into the pit lane. They're getting it up and out of the way as quickly as possible.
Yeah, this particular car dropped some oil on the track, so after that happens, what happens next naturally is you got to bring out the brooms and clean it up.
Yes, it's a thankless job sometimes. You're out there in the hot sun, and you know yourself how hot it got that weekend.
Yeah, it certainly was a hot weekend.
These are the F2 cars going here. See somebody waving a blue flag. That means somebody's about to be passed. You don't have to do anything. It's just there as an advisement. Somebody testing their braking limits.
Yeah. Now you see here, we see the back of one of the firemen. Now it was hot for us. It must have been something else, because anytime any vehicles were on the track, these firemen had to be in full gear and ready to go.
Yeah, and they're wearing the same Nomex, but they got a rubber coat and stuff over top too, and they were hot.
One thing I did find about these, both the Formula 2 cars and the Formula Atlantics, or Players Atlantic cars as they call them now, is that they are extremely loud. I would almost say evil.
Oh, they were wicked on the ears, especially the F2 cars. They were very close to a Ferrari sound, or like a Formula 1 Ferrari sound level. Almost grating. The Formula Atlantics, the Toyota Atlantics, they were, I don't know, not pleasing, but I mean, you could bear it. For the F2s, I had the earplugs in.
Yeah, exactly.
Extremely grating. Now this is the Formula 1600s. You're going to see these at Penfield in a race coming up in the long weekend in September. A few of these cars from the Atlantic provinces. Glen Hoare going there, and the McDonald-sponsored it might be a Lola. Van Diemen or Lola, I'm not sure which. You're going to probably see at least 15 of these cars down in Penfield.
That's good. Now these cars are exciting to watch because they do things like this.
Yes, they do. They are very light. They tend to run up each other and jump all around.
For anybody that's ever been involved in go-kart racing, this is the next logical step along that path.
Yeah, a lot of guys go from here into players' cars. From there, they might jump up to an Indy Light car. From there, possibly to AIS series, and then maybe onto an Indy car if they're good enough and have enough money.
A lot of nerve too, I think.
Yep. Now, believe it or not, this is all practice you've been watching here.
Yeah.
These guys are out there exploring the limits, and they tend to lose it sometimes. And
I was looking at their lap charts as to like the first day, the second day, and then finally the big race for these fellas, and they chopped about 2 seconds off each time. So like this is the first day. Can you imagine they're going another 4 seconds quicker?
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, is as you take those seconds off, it gets harder and harder to gain time. Like when I started racing in AMP, I was doing a minute 30. Within a few races, I'd be down to minute 28. And then after 5 more races, 27. And then after 15 races, 126.5. It's a curve that just peters off really quickly.
We can see one of the drivers is walking away. There's a lot of camaraderie around here amongst the drivers and amongst the corner workers. Now, you say the corner workers is a thankless job. I've noticed that the drivers don't think it's a thankless job.
Yeah, yes.
They really
very
appreciate
important to
it.
have those corner workers there. They are the eyes to the driver. They're going around this course. They have no idea what's around that corner. And the only thing it's telling them is if they see a yellow flag out, they know that there's something in the way up there. We in our race in Penfield, we're actually looking for marshals. We're bringing down a contingent from the Halifax Grand Prix to help us out, but we can always use a lot. That's Tim Coldwater from Fredericton. He's one of the faster Formula 1600 drivers in Atlantic Canada. I think you'll see in Penfield a good race between him and Glenn Hoare.
For those of you that are motocross followers, Glenn, I guess, stepped off his motocross bike and decided to sit down on...
Yeah. Well, Glenn even raced in the Tractor, which you see here. He raced with us out there in an old 510. He was phenomenal out there. The man can get behind any wheel of anything and just make it perform like you wouldn't believe. This is my type of racing here. Yeah. This is what I'm involved in. This is the IT race.
Which stands for Improved Touring.
Improved Touring. It's a showroom stock car that's older than 4 years. Actually, I see a few GT cars out there too, so it looks like it's just a practice, and they're all out there just humming along, trying to get used to the course. The Moosehead was a very challenging race. All you can see coming around a corner is concrete, and you have I'm thinking the turnoff coming down from Grand Bay onto the highway there, and you come around that, and it's concrete there, and you can't see around that concrete. Well, you just imagine that on both sides of you doing 120 mile an hour going around the corner, and you get an idea of the danger involved in this type of racing.
And especially when you get into the open wheelers that are much lower.
Oh, yes.
I was getting some shots at the edge of the wall. Now, those walls, those barriers are approximately 2.5 feet high, would you guess?
Yeah, about that.
And these guys were going by me with their head below that level.
Yeah, that must give the real sensation of speed out there.
All you see.
No obstruction. This is after the practice is over. They're all heading back with their tools and stuff.
Now, I took a short break and took a wander around. There were other things going on. This is the concourse.
Yes. All the exotic cars, from Maseratis to Ferraris and Triumphs. Unfortunately, I never got a chance to go over and see it because I was working the event. I wanted to. I did see them do a parade lap around there. Saw a beautiful Ferrari Dino there that I just want to get closer to and take a real nice look at, but never had the chance to.
You obviously missed the dunk tank too then.
I missed the dunk tank,
That was a pretty popular spot. For those over there, they know what I mean.
A Bug Eye Sprite, I believe that is.
I believe that's a TR2.
Oh, yes, it is.
TR1,
Sorry,
TR2s.
I didn't see the rest of it.
A split
there's
windshield.
the Ferrari Dino there. A few Corvettes. They had all sorts of vintage, exotic type cars there. It was really nice to see. Really made the event.
This was basically when there was a lull and nothing was going on. You could just kind of wander over and see them.
Something for the spectators to take a look at, and there was everything there for people to see. They had some sort of cannon shoot with a local Rotary Club or something there. That looks like one of the leading players' cars.
That was the last time I saw that car that day, by the way.
I understand that he went out and bought a car for the race the next day. The price tag probably up in the $100,000 to $200,000 range, just because he wanted to race the next day. That's I don't know. I don't have words for that.
Here's the start of the Formula 1600 race here. It was busy in that corner.
It was busy. Again, I drive a little car, but at least I got a little bit of metal around me. I'm not a too happy driver there. He must have got bunted out of the way.
Yeah, the first corner was his last corner, so he wasn't too pleased.
A lot of these drivers down from Ontario region, supplemented by about 15 drivers from here.
Well, that sure was a lot of fun in Halifax. I hope that I can get down there next year. I'm planning for it anyway. It's certainly exciting.
That's if it's in Halifax next year. I put a bid in to see if we can get it in St. John.
Yeah, I'm certainly interested.
You may see it here.
Okay. One thing we do know that is going to be here is going to be your regional races sponsored by the
It's going to be
NBCC
sponsored.
club.
Yeah, the New Brunswick Sporting Car Club will be putting on this race. We're bringing back what we call the old Moosehead 400. We used to race down there in the 60s and 70s. It was called the Moosehead 400 and Moosehead 300, I believe. I've seen both, endurance racing. There was everything from Porsches to Cobras to, you wouldn't believe the stuff that was down there years ago. We're going to be bringing that race back again. Again, sponsored by Moosehead as one of the main sponsors. Maritime Tire is going to be another sponsor, and BF Goodrich will be sponsoring the Regional Slalom Series. The Regional Slalom Series is open to anybody with a street car. You've probably seen on the show before, we go around through the pylons and it's one car at a time. The race car drivers will be participating in that at the same time. So if you'd like to see how fast you are compared to a Formula Ford or some Corvette out there, then yeah, it should be really interesting. And of course, following that and in between will be the different races throughout the weekend. And we're looking for people to help work it. There's no way of getting to see a race better than being able to work it. You know yourself in the Moosehead Grand Prix, the places we could go where the general public couldn't. I mean, we could stick our hand out and touch a race car if we want.
Yeah, you're right.
And you know, the concrete barrier was there, so you're perfectly safe. But you know, we had the responsibility of knowing to stay out of the way. And that's what we're looking for, is responsible people who would like to help at our Penfield race. And they can contact me at 849-1002. And if you don't get me, you'll get the electronic me, and just leave a message, and I hope to see you down at the event. Okay,
I'm sure to be there, and I hope that lots of people are going to get the bug, get the car down there, try out this auto slalom, see what it's like.
Realistic, like, I do both track racing and slalom racing. Trying for the lead in the regional series, not doing too well, and the club series. It's a real intense, about 40 seconds to a minute out in a slalom course, but you're constantly braking, accelerating, turning. You've been in the car with me. You know the forces. You're just going back and forth. It's really made to a smaller type nimble car like a Honda or a Volkswagen Rabbit or something like that. But we have different classes too. If you show up with we've had a Jimmy truck out. You know, the guy shows up with a truck. We have a class, put him in with other classes, or with other trucks. If you show up in a Mustang, you're going to be in with IROCs and Camaros and stuff. If you show up in a Porsche, you're going to be in the class we have for the RX-7s and the Ferraris and so on. And if you show up with any modifications to your car, well, you're going to be going against me and see how well you do.
Yeah. I think the big thing there is, first of all, you're against yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You'll find that out pretty quick.
It's the time, and you just try to better your time. And it takes years and years of practice to get better and better. But I was explaining how intense it gets compared to the racetrack. On a racetrack, you take a corner over and over and over and over and over again, and in between the straightaways, you're just foot to the floor, waiting for the next corner.
Just waiting,
you got a few cars around you to dice around with you, but you know, you get time to look at your gauges, you know, scratch your head if your head itches or whatever, and you go into the corner, nice smooth line, come back out of the corner again. Road racing now, we go left and right. It's not just round a circle. I guess we should tell people how we're going to be doing the track down there. Most people associate Penfield with drag racing. If they've ever been down there, it actually makes a crisscross of runways down there. And we'll be putting chicanes in there and different corners to make the cars go around this triangle. It's very wide open, and the speeds really get up there. And we did have a few accidents last year. You know, it happens. It's more gentleman racing. There shouldn't be any banging or hitting around. You know, you're again talking street cars with the safety equipment added to it, and nobody can afford to go out and replace a fender or anything. It's not like something fiberglass or something you can repair quickly.
Well, I hope it's going to be. I know it's going to be a good event.
Yes.
I'll be seeing you down there, and I hope other people are going to catch the bug.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, thanks for coming in today, Stacey.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Okay, we'll be right back after this short break. you are interested in race, rally, or auto slalom events, please contact the car club nearest you. Welcome back to the show. If you're watching those guys in the formula racing, there's one way that I'll bet you a lot of them got their start, and that was in go-kart racing. Well, we've got some people that have a lot of experience with go-kart racing in the studio here tonight. With me is Rick McGrath, John Caldwell, and Matthew Millette. Glad you can make it to the show. Okay, John, I know I've been talking to you on the phone about this before. Go-kart racing, in a nutshell, can you explain what it is?
Well, just a lot of fun. It's a good family sport. They have different classes. They have the 4 strokes, 2 strokes, seniors, senior light, senior heavies. It's just a good way to go out on Sunday afternoons and have a good time.
I remember from when I was a kid, I was in a go-kart club, and it certainly was a lot of fun. Now, Matthew, are you driving yourself?
Yep.
Okay, what are you driving for a kart?
Coyote free roller.
Okay, could you explain to people what that is?
Well,
Kind of put you on the spot. Not in the technical part of it, but go-karts basically are run with or 2-stroke or 4-stroke engine the size of a lawnmower engine,
Yes.
putting out, what, 5 horsepower?
5 horsepower.
Yeah, okay. Maybe for people to get a better idea, if we could roll some tape here now and let you have an idea of what go-kart racing looks like. Okay, this is at Champlain Motorsport Park, I believe. Rick, could you explain a little bit about what these races are?
Well, that's the flightman there. He lined them up there to start. That's the junior class that Matthew runs his kart in. If you look, you may see him there. Number 22 is his kart, the red one there. And they're just getting set there now. They normally take 2 pace laps. Kind of warms the tires up, cut back and forth, and make sure the tires are sticking. And then he'll give them the green to go if they're in line. If not, he'll give them another lap. And
Now, with these vehicles, to try to compare them to people that are used to driving a car, okay, it's a little different beast. John, could you explain some of the differences, like in the way of steering, suspension, braking?
It's got the, it's all direct steering. They run on, like say, the Briggs. They're chain driven. Carts will do about 50 mile an hour. It's just a small Indy car is what it is. You can adjust your front ends up and down, your camber. You can adjust your back axle in and out. It's just like a small Indy car, just a smaller version of one, because you can do everything to them.
And the type of racing that's done with this is very similar to what Indy cars would be racing, just on a smaller
A smaller
course.
version, yeah. Just a smaller version of it.
Okay. Now, I haven't seen any go-kart racing in St. John. Where do you go racing?
We go up to the Moncton Motorsport Park, take the exit Skaduk and Dieppe, and it's right on the highway there, the Babin Road. It's a new track they just built last year for us. It's about, it's almost a half-mile track.
What do you think of the track, Matthew?
it's fun, a lot of fun.
That's fun. How long have you been driving go-karts?
3 years.
3 years? Okay. What got you started? Like, how long have you been involved in go-kart racing? Matthew first, maybe?
It's 3 years. I just started.
Okay. What started you?
I just watched the NASCARs, and I just liked it. I liked to start racing.
Okay. How about you, John?
Well, we're just up at, they used to race in the community college up in Dieppe. Just driving by there one Sunday, and we seen them all out in the parking lot going around. Had to have one.
Okay. And Rick, are you a racer yourself, or?
well, since I was a kid, we always had go-karts, somewhat the old homemade ones, but then I got kind of away from it for a while, and then met up with John there and got involved in it again, so I started doing the driving, and now we're kind of a team, the 3 of us, and we're really enjoying it.
Okay. What would it take to get go-kart racing here in St. John? What do you think it would take?
Well, it'd be nice to see a track to get it started. I don't know, it's not a great deal of money, but to get the track built would be the most expense, you know, and there's a lot of people I have talked to in St. John that are quite interested, and I think we would work out pretty good here. I think there's a lot of people in St. John that are interested in racing, but
They just don't want to travel.
They just
don't want to travel to Moncton.
That's true. You know,
the thing,
it's
yeah.
not that far, but
It's costly.
It costs money.
Cost,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right. How expensive is it to get in the grassroots?
Well, you can buy a good used cart with an engine for about $1,200 to $1,300. A brand new cart costs you about $25.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you're a few gears, you're all set.
Okay.
So I would say a good used one, about 12 to 15.
Okay. Maybe we'll throw this challenge out to some of the viewers here in St. John. If they want to find out about go-karting, where could they contact?
Now they could just give me a call, 696-7738.
Mm-hmm.
They're 24 hours. They could get me anytime.
Okay, then. I'll make sure we get that number up again at the end.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for coming in. I'd like to thank Cable 5 and Moncton for sending us some of the footage of you guys racing there, and let's see if we can get it going here in St. John.
Next weekend there's a big one in Moncton.
Oh, right. I should mention.
Yeah.
What is your schedule?
Next weekend it's the Moosehead Challenge. We race for the Atlantic Championship 3 races a year, and Halifax comes with us.
Okay. What date and time would that be?
Next
Saturday?
No, next Sunday.
Sunday.
I don't know. It starts at 1.
Sunday at 1 o'clock, Champlain Motorsports
Yeah.
Park.
And there should be probably about 50 carts there.
Mm-hmm. And for those that are interested in where that is, you can see it from the highway.
You can
there.
see it from the highway. You take the Skadukti up exit, and then just turn left, and you come to the Babin Road, and you just drive down that about quarter mile, and you'll see them there.
Well, I hope you've got some good weather out there, and people come out and see what it's all about.
No charge.
Oh, no charge.
No
Hey,
charge,
that's-
no.
Admission. There's free admission there, and they've got canteen facilities and washroom facilities.
Okay. Okay, well, thanks very much for coming in.
Yep.
I hope to see you in the future, and I hope that we can get go-karts going here in St. John.
We'll get something rolling.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And welcome back to Champlain Motorsports Park as we get ready to get underway with the next 20-lap Coca-Cola Classic feature race. These are the senior heavies. This class decided by weighing in the machines. These are the machines who do not make the weight break to run the light class. It's going to be a small class of 6 drivers. Again, these are 5 and 5.5 horsepower machines. The 5.5 horsepower machines carry a 20-pound weight handicap. Most of what you will see running here are the Honda-built motors, and they are purpose-modified for go-kart racing, although they started life basically as a utility engine. Also a small smattering of some other brands, including Briggs and Strattons, and certainly as we have seen today, there are some Briggs and Stratton motors out there that don't resemble what you have in your rototiller or snowblower. Maybe we should have some of these guys show us just exactly what it takes to tune up a rototiller or snowblower to do what these carts do. Heading for the grid now. The senior heavy class on the pole, the 08 is Yves Martin Robichaud. He's 41 years old. He's been driving 4 years, and he has some wins under his belt, sponsored by LMD. The number 40 is Marty Rose. He has had a very good day so far, racing for Atlantic Industrial Refrigeration, 32 years old. He's been racing for 2 years. The number 12, Sandy Livingston, also very hot today, 45 years old, looking for a sponsor. Has some partial sponsorship from Amsoil. And he has some serious racing experience under his belt with some time spent in Formula V's and GT2 and GT3 cars. The number 5 is Royden Nickerson. He races for Nipro Limited. He's been racing for 2 years and has some wins to his credit. The number 34, Bob McKinley. This is his rookie race, a 47-year-old racer sponsored by BK Printing. And the number 54 is Reg Marriott, 38 years old, raced for 1 year, best finish so far, a 3rd, and just goes out to race for the fun of it. Reg also has a son who races.